All right, hello. I have been working with schoolyards and school communities for the last 17 years. And I began first in Denver, Colorado with Professor Lois Brink, who's at the University of Colorado, Denver, where we successfully managed to not only raise funds, but build 96 schoolyards for K through 5th grade predominantly. And that initiative is something that's unheard of across the United States. It's only occurred in 2 other cities. So Boston also has a successful schoolyard project, and Denver is the other one. And it took a long time. So I want you to realize that this is a long time coming to have these things get built. Lois started in 1998, working with just her one school where her daughter went. And then she partnered up with another principal who was trying to increase accessible, green, healthy, fun, community-based playgrounds. And they met and they started to work together. So essentially what happened was it was the haves and the have-nots coming together, and they started a movement. So I was brought in 2001 in grad school. I worked on 70 of these projects now to date, both in Denver and now recently in Philadelphia. I have 12 schools in Philadelphia that I'm working with currently. And of those 12, we have 5 partial, I shouldn't say 12, we have 21 total between Lois and I. We have 5 partially built, meaning very small incremental changes have occurred at these schoolyards because there is not a citywide implementation plan fully underway yet, although I'm happy to report that Philadelphia, as of 2016, has just initially started doing top-down moves because they've had so much pushback from grassroots parents, activists, and city community members. And that pushback has occurred because we've been able to raise capacity by doing these master plans very quickly. So I created 12 master plans since 2015 with my students here at Iowa State. I am specifically looking for collaborators who would like to work with me. I have tons of data. We have never been able to fully analyze or interpret the research that we have out of Denver. We have some of it already underway, but we certainly need partners at the table who are really capable and competent who can help us. None of our research methods are standardized, I won't lie to you. The closest thing we have is a photo survey board, and that's because every community has different needs. And we work with some schools that have 14 different languages, so storytelling, as was mentioned earlier, is a major component of this. Coming up with visualization tools and trying to relay the story we tell is really critical. We use any tool we can to reach the people we're trying to reach. When I go into Philadelphia, I actually will go to community recreation centers, I go to churches, I go to coffee shops, I talk to people everywhere, and then I come back and I report back what I'm finding to my students because they can only go one time in a semester, which is really unfortunate because I would love for them to be able to go with me all the time. But if you can imagine a parking lot, just a giant parking lot, surrounded by a 20-foot high chain of fencing, that is what the schoolyards look like in Philly. And there are 300 schools in Philadelphia that literally have nothing but asphalt and concrete. And so environmental and social change and social justice and environmental justice, these are 2 things that I think are critical, and they really are necessary, especially in our impoverished communities. And we have to make an effort to do what we can to make the world a better place for these kids in these communities. Thank you.